Okay, looks like we're live now. So we want to welcome you guys to our April 8th edition of Insight Policing Live and Uncut. I'm Mike Delaney. I'm also an instructor of Insight Policing, which is sponsored by the Center for Applied Insight Conflict Resolution. And simply put, Insight Policing is conflict resolution for police officers. And a little bit about me. I know we get on this every week, but I'm a 30-year law enforcement veteran. A majority of my time has been spent investigating homicides, police-involved shootings, armed robberies, and other major crimes. So, and I, again, also teach in the academy and teach veteran and recruit officers as well. And as always, today we have with us Dr. Megan Price, as well as Andre, the Honorable Andre Brooks. And Megan, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi, thank you everyone for being here today. My name is Dr. Megan Price. I direct the Center for Applied Insight Conflict Resolution and train Insight Policing.
Cool. Good to have you, Dr. Price there. And Andre, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Andre Brooks. I'm a 30-plus year law enforcement veteran, also a co-trainer with Megan and Mike in the Insight Policing, and nice to have you here today. Mr. Jordan and Mr. Hooks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today we have a couple of heavy hitters with us. And these guys right here, they work in the belly of the beast. I mean, literally. So we have Mr. Jordan here today, who is the founder of Jacob's Ladder Youth Foundation. And Jerriel is also a long tenured law enforcement officer like Andre and myself. And he spent a lot of time in the mighty homicide unit as an investigator. So hats off to you for that. And we also have with us today, Mr. Kenny Hooks, and he's a case manager with the Department of Juvenile Services here in Maryland. And he's also served as a counselor, a mentor, and a consultant for certain juvenile offenders, and again, as a mentor as well. So Jerriel, if you could tell us a little bit about Jacob's Ladder and how you got that started.
Sure. Good afternoon, first of all. Again, I'm Jerriel Jordan from the Jacob's Ladder Youth Foundation. And it's always a pleasure just to be able to come on and just, discuss how our organization is working in the community. We are a 501c3 organization. Our mission is to reduce the number of juveniles entering and returning to the juvenile justice system. And we go down to the DC Youth Facility twice a week. We interact with the kids at Cheltenham Youth Detention Center in Cheltenham near Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And we're also with the Department of Juvenile Services, the Evening Reporting Center, just providing services and sessions to those youth as well. We specialize in strengthening families and just having a positive impact on youth, okay? I like to describe our organization as a community resource, and we really stand in the gap no matter what the needs are for our community. Just like Mike said, I was with Prince George's County Police Department, raised in Prince George's County, educated in Prince George's County. I have a lot of passion for Prince George's County, all right? So it's a pleasure to be here. Just my quick introduction. And hey, again, thank you. Thanks so much.
All right, cool. Appreciate that, Jerriel. And I can attest for that. The man has a passion for Prince George's County and for the youth as well. So kudos to you for that, man. Mr. Hooks, if you could tell us just a little bit about the many hats that you're wearing and that you've done in the past, as far as your interactions with juveniles and the youth in DC and in Maryland.
Yeah, I've been working with at-risk kids involved in the juvenile justice system in DC as well as in Maryland. Man, it's almost going on 30 years now, and that's a passion of mine. So I wouldn't have any other way, because a lot of times these kids are not responsible for their early on what they're exposed to. The parents are, the grown-ups are, and you can say the community is. So I wanted to get in this field to change that narrative. I want to bring in network with the Jacob's Ladder Foundation, the police department, as well as Dr. Price, as well as going into these facilities as well as working with my organization to kind of change that policy and procedures on how to work with kids and identify different traumas that have been through over the years. Because a lot of times you don't know. So basically, I mean, it's a whole lot of hats that I do wear, but we won't get into that right now. But my main focus is dealing with kids, at-risk kids.
Right. And look, again, my hat goes off to you as well, man. And I haven't talked to Andre or Megan about this, but I've actually gone into one of the facilities with these guys, and we've mentored at-risk youth at the Youth Services Center in DC.
Department, what is it, DORS.
And I'm going to tell you, man, a lot of people talk about giving back and talking about helping and, hey, we need to make a difference. But like I said in the beginning, these guys have worked in the belly of the beast. These are young folks that are incarcerated. And, through the mentoring that these guys provide, the youth have opened up, and we're able to sit down and talk with the guys and try to get them prepared for release into society. So, and I mean, that's important. And how long, Jerriel, how long have you guys been doing that with the organization?
We started our reentry piece of our program in right before COVID. So 2019. So in 2019 is when we started our reentry part of our organization. And Kenny Hook's always been instrumental, just helping us get into Cheltenham with the Department of Juvenile Services of the state of Maryland. And then from there, we just had a desire to keep expanding. So we recently, just this year, started going to DC's youth facility. And now I'm just trying to get over in Northern Alexandria. I mean, this work is very uplifting, and just Mike, when the first time you went in and, you were able to, reach some of the young men there. I mean, I could tell just how, lifted you were when we left. I mean, you couldn't wait to get back the following week because of just how it made your heart feel. And, so just real quick, we also have, young ladies down at the DC facility as well. So we have some female mentors and volunteers that go down and keep those kids encouraged. And it's all about hope, okay? It's all about hope, because when hope is lost, I mean, no telling what a person would do. So we just try to keep them encouraged, keep them lifted, keep them motivated, keep them inspired, whatever it takes for us to go down there and just to do this work for those young folks, we're willing to do.
Again, that's that just hearing you saying it and seeing you do it is I mean, that's the total package for me. One thing I can say is everybody on the call, we've all worked or coached with young adults, young kids, and we try to mold them and mentor them to be an effective member of society. And when you start to look at these older young adults, because I believe some of the individuals we dealt with were 18, and I mean, some were in there waiting on trials to come up, and it's you can see a lot of them didn't have that guidance or that leadership early on, because talking to them and looking into their eyes, you could tell that we made a difference with them. They heard what we were saying. But speaking of coaching, Kenny, you have another venture that you're a part of, and you want to discuss a little bit about that?
Yeah, we will. I coach, play, run the team of DC General Police and Fire. And how ironic is a lot of the guys are coming in young that either that started with the police or the fire. And I tell you, man, it's like training them all over again. You can tell that they're still in that mind frame of, I just want to play ball. But the DC Generals are more than that. Yeah, we play ball, we play football for charity. We do it for youth charities, raise money for youth charities, as well as human health causes like cancer, Alzheimer's. So a lot of people that come to the team are looking just to play ball. And that's what the young guys that come on. But as an old guy, I look at it for the charity aspect and, giving back to our community. And we've been in existence for now since 2006. 14 years. So it's been uplifting. It's been gratifying to me just to be a part of it, not only as a player, but just helping run the team.
So I know we spoke about this before, but the teams are made up of law enforcement, firefighters, and people in that field, in those fields, right?
Yes, all first responders. In order to be on our team as well as in the league, you got to be a first responder. Some teams are big, like our New York teams. They have a police team, they have a fire team, they have a corrections team, and they used to have what they call we call them the trash men, but basically the sanitation, because in New York you can write citations and arrest people as a sanitation worker. So basically we had that team as well. I mean, we have a team in Philadelphia, we have teams in Virginia, we have Florida, on the West Coast, LA teams, all of them comprised of either police officers or firefighters or first responders. And all of them are nonprofit organizations as well.
Wow.
And they have their own causes. They have their own causes that they raise money for as well.
Man, I just learned something new about the trash man. I gotta, keep my eye open for the trash man now. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Kenny.
Be careful when you go to New York and throw your trash out. They got badges and everything, man.
That's different. Hey, so let me ask you this for the audience mainly. I know the answer to this, but do you guys feel that there's a direct association between mentoring these juveniles and juvenile offenders as it pertains to their interaction with the community and the police when they get out?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak on the juvenile services side. I think a lot of it comes with training. I think we probably talked about this before. If you're coming from another community and you want to police a community, you have to learn that community. If you're not from that community, you don't know what the dynamics are. You don't know what the trauma is. You just know that you are trained to police and enforce the law. But you got to realize, like my wife is a kindergarten teacher in the District of Columbia. And just today, she told me one of the kids' parents, she teaches kindergarten, died in a car accident. So now that kid is 5, is traumatized. You don't have a mom, you don't have a father. So now he got to live with that. If you don't get the right structure or you don't get the right therapy, he's going to act out in some kind of way. So what I would ask any law enforcement, any guy to come in, know your community that you're police. Don't just say, okay, these are knuckleheads. I used to think that when I first got in the field, but no, you got to realize they are traumatized. Like this young man, like I said, is traumatized. He's just gone through trauma. And some of the kids that are in her class are the oldest, and they're just 5. And so as we know, with people with big, large families, kind of that older kid get pushed out to raise themselves. So just thinking about the kid coming to school by himself at 5, trying to find his own food at 5, and then also going by these different neighborhoods and seeing what he's seeing at that age. So I would ask any officer going into these communities, learn these communities, talk to these people. Don't just say, I'm going to police you because the law says it. Get to know them. Right. And then I think you would develop a relationship with them, and then you'll understand them better. Don't lock them up for every little thing. Like, I think we talked about this before, as far as the finance, yes, by us mentoring, we're teaching them financial literacy. But some of the only thing they know is what they see. Right. And we have, as police officer and law enforcement and first responders, we have to recognize that. Mm-hmm.
I love what you're saying about officers, getting to know their community. I think that's so important, and it's a real challenge, right? And that's one of the things that Insight Policing actually helps prepare officers to do by helping them learn how to ask questions, how to discover what's going on for people. What is the trauma? What is the worry? What is the concern? So that the information becomes available to build that connection, to open up the lines of communication. So even if somebody's coming from who lives outside of the community, they are still able to build that trust and build those connections because they understand what it takes to talk, right? And what it takes to get curious. I think that's a really great point that you bring up.
Thank you.
If I can just jump in on that, Dr. Price, I think the police officers have to want to do that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They have to have that desire. Okay. And it's like everything else, it's on the individual. So if they truly don't want to, I mean, they're not going to. I mean, that's just my 2 cents. But as far as a mentor, I was just going to just discuss real quick just the mentoring aspect of that and everything with Kenny. I totally agree. And when we talk about the community, it's everybody in that community. It's your family, your neighbors, the businesses, teachers. I mean, all professions to include police officers. So, it's that overall exposure, when it comes down to being exposed to the police and the police departments locally. Exposure is everything. But definitely, I think, as far as, the police officers having that desire and, to want to be a part of the community. I mean, that's the only way you're going to ever approach somebody, neighborly. That's the only way you're going to have a neighborly approach if you want to be a part of that community. If you don't want to be a part of that community and you just there for your, for your tour, your 8, 10, 12 hours, whatever your tour is, that's exactly what it's going to be. I'm just here for this 8, 10, 12 hours. That's going to be the approach. And that's just going to be what you're going to get from it, So, I mean, again, with me, it goes back to your desire to really be a part of where you're policing.
Point. I will say this, I know Andre, Jerriel, and myself, we poured into our communities. I've known these guys for 20 years plus, and we poured our hearts and souls into that community. And you can see it now. I mean, these guys, they were coaching, and now I met, I met Hooks last year, and he's been coaching forever too. But these guys have been coaching, I mean, not even just their own kids, other kids. So it continued. It began before the police department. It carried on into the police department, and now they're doing the same thing once they retired and gone from the policing. So that's important. And so all of you guys are right about that. So
absolutely. And look, shout out to my man Andre Brooks, the godfather of them all. I'm here to tell you, Andre was a model to follow. I mean, for the young officers like myself. Mike had more time on than I did. But when I came on, I mean, just to see the way Andre was training folks, I mean, it's like he was training several rookie officers coming through. And just to see how he maintained coaching, I used to ask him, I mean, how you coaching? And, you're always working and making things happen in the household with the family. And he pretty much, I mean, I started really just piggybacking and kept coaching because he motivated me, I could see how he moved with it, and it was just so inspiring. And then with Mike, he never missed a beat with his family whatsoever. So just to watch you two, I mean, you talking about mentors. I mean, for me to watch you guys, I mean, before me was incredible. So, I mean, hats off to you. I salute you. I thank you all for what you all did because it had a true impact on me.
Sure, I really appreciate that, man. We go back a long ways, long ways. And I know you've been working with your foundation for quite some time. And, it's funny because, even when, I was training Mike early, I always told him to invest in the community that we live in, and I think that you're right. Officers don't do that. And we've discussed this a lot, this is all about a paycheck for a lot of them. And for us, it's about, and, we've talked even before you guys came on, I always stress to Megan and Mike to, that to be successful in this life and then be successful in the job of policing and getting to these folks, you got to be invested in the community and you got to give back, I was working with Juvenile rope for a long time. And, we would follow kids that had the recidiveness to get back into the system. And the one thing, that we noticed is that these guys didn't have a grounded foundation or anyone in their life, like a Jacob's Lad or Mr. Hooks or Mike, anybody, just to go out and be that significant voice in their lives. And, it's a whole generation of kids that were just lost to the system, you know, and then you put those kids out here to deal with officers that don't have any investment in the community and don't really care. You know, you've created a system that continues to go from the streets to the prisons, to the schools, to the prisons. So, man, look, hey, hats off to you guys, man. I wish I could come down there. I got so much going on to help you guys out. I get a little jealous when Mike goes out and helps, and I see y'all out at Jacob's Ladder, and I can't get out there, you know, but hey, just know I'm with you in spirit, man, and I appreciate those kind words, and you guys keep doing what you do, and man, when I get a chance, I'm gonna come out there with y'all and get back a little bit more too. So.
Absolutely. And just one more thing and I'll be done. I know I'm doing a lot of talking. Kenny Hooks. I mean, every step of the way with Jacob's Ladder, I just always, you know, just bounced it off of him. He's always given me wonderful advice. And I mean, we, you know, officially became in existence in 2016, but we have, I mean, grown tremendously just off, you know, the information and advice that he's provided. And every step of the way has been fruitful. So, I mean, we have our own system. This is what you get when you have a, you know, a good core, a good nucleus. You create your own network, your own pipeline, and our own system.
You know, I mean, if you're showing it the right way, then people can follow. So that's good, man. So Mr. Hooks and Mr. Jordan, I know we're running up towards the end here, but we definitely want to invite you guys back for a talk on a later date. I'm sure you guys want to talk about some of your success stories that you've had with your prospective organization. So we definitely welcome you back whenever you want to come back. And good, Dr. Price, you're gonna close us out?
Yeah, no, I want to thank you both, all of you for being here, but definitely Mr. Hooks and Mr. Jordan. And I'd love to hear, just as we close out, kind of what are, if you can identify one or two key things that make coaching or mentoring successful. I mean, you talked about how Andre is the king of it. I mean, what do you see in your daily work that really is effective at getting young people to buy into what you have to offer?
Well, I think right now, and to be honest with you, lately I've been listening more than talking. So we have to be able to understand and listen to the generation that we're dealing with versus thinking that we have all the answers. And being able to relate. Again, I'm from this area. You know, I can still talk the language a little bit. And being able to relate, just to understand them and to know where they're coming from, and just to have a high level of compassion. And truly, when I see those young kids, I see myself. So when you can identify like that, yeah, you're hitting them right at the core.
Beautiful.
Yeah. With me is sharing that I didn't always have it together, and let them know that just because you don't have it together right now, don't mean you're never going to have it together. Look at what we did. One of the phrases that Mr. Jordan used is I always respect is, how did he say it? He says, "I just didn't get caught." You know what I mean?
Right.
So that resonates with those kids every time he says that, as well as me. It's like, we didn't get caught. At the same time, we want to share with you guys and empower you guys to be, you know, to be all that you're powered to be. That's part of our youth creed. To become all you is powered to become all you is powered to be. That's our creed.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I do want to add something real quick. I know we're running over, but one thing that I picked up from Jerriel was, I don't come in and the kids that we talk to, they don't know that we're police officers. They may know about Jerriel now because he's been there for a while, but I didn't have any police paraphernalia. I didn't mention it because you want them to come down, you know, to come at you with their guards down. You know, if you come in there as a police officer with police background or experience, they're already guarded. So I picked that up from Jerriel, and I just carried that through because I felt that was important. So I just wanted to mention that too.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you all for being here and for sharing those pearls of wisdom. And we do look forward to seeing you again. So, all right, well, we will close out, and thanks again. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Right.
Good seeing everybody.
Thank you.
Be safe.
Be brave.